Here we are. I actually can't believe it. I'm finally having a go at making a fry update video. So the fry have done incredibly well. One of the biggest challenges to making this video actually has been the weather lately. It's been an absolute nightmare. I've been saying to myself over the last month that I'm going to do something with these fish. I want to get them into an outside tank. This tank being inside, yeah, we've got this window here, but it just don't get enough sunlight to really bring out the colours that well in the fish, so the reds are all very bland when they're in this tank. So ideally I want them into my other tank where it's got a lot of natural sunlight, but the weather's just not in it. So this tank being in here in this room, it stays at 18 degrees all the time. I've not had the heater on in quite some time now. Let me just turn the drum filter off. There we go. I've not had the heater on for quite some time now, and I've not even had the heating on in the building. As you can see, it's turned off. This building is very well insulated and just keeps its heat quite naturally, and 18 degrees is the absolute lowest I can get it, which is an absolute pain for moving them into an outside tank. Most unheated outside ponds at this point are about 10 degrees, so it's just not happening. So they're going into my other indoor pond, which I've heated up specifically to take these fries. So I've heated it up from 15 to 18 so that some of them can go straight into there. Basically what I'm doing today is taking the big ones out, and I'm going to put them into this tank here, which is currently filling up with water, which is why the drum filter went off, because the water level's dropping slowly. And hopefully we can have a good look at them, have a see what we've got, and have a chat about them. But yeah, they've done really well. So they're kept at 26 degrees up until about the new year. So I got them in September and I kept them at 26 degrees till, I don't know, it'd have been about February sometime then. I think at the end of the February they got to about 22, something like that, and then since then they've been at about 18 quite comfortably, and I've been feeding them really well. It's been a great year for them. Very few have died. I have acquired a few extra ones, so they're actually not all Cuttlebrook fry in here at the minute. The reasoning for that is that some of the fish I ended up getting off a friend that were having trouble with them, and they ended up just getting put in here. There was nothing wrong with them, it's just the tank were that polluted. Anyway, they ended up in here. So there is a couple of non-Cuttlebrook fish. You may see them, but I won't point them out. They're mostly Sankeys and Showers. The metallics in here are all the Cuttlebrook ones. And so let's have a look, see what we've got. So while I'm waiting for these tanks to fill up, I'm sort of just stood here looking, watching them, just getting a, just enjoying them basically. One of the things I get mentioned quite a lot actually, or told quite a lot, is that I probably should start culling them. I don't cull any fish. No, I don't know why. I get the advantages of it. For me, I just hate it. I absolutely can't stand it. It does me head in. It's just a part of the process I don't like. And we're looking at them now. So I'm stood over the tank, and you've got things like these little guys, these little Shiro Mujis, and some little metallic guys here. And they're the less desirable fish that you might say in this tank. They're even not that big, so they haven't grown insanely well, especially compared to some of your other ones. But the trouble is, which ones are here now wanting food out my hand? These little Shiro Mujis are insanely friendly. They're so friendly it's ridiculous. I've no idea why them ones specifically. You think Chaggies would be friendly, they're not. Small Chaggies are just not friendly at all. Well, this one could be a Chaggy, but small Chaggies are just not friendly at all. In my experience, it's only when they get bigger and more mature that Chaggies sort of mature into being quite friendly. But these little Shiro Mujis are insanely friendly all the time, from being fry and everything. I've got one specific fish in my pond, which you've probably seen in other videos. I think you were in that video where I was catching fish, and he was one of my fry from a few years ago, and they're just insanely friendly, and you can't scare them away. You get net in pond, everything. They'll just not be bothered. They'll be stood there going, well, I'll have some food. And it's sad to me that, you know, yes, they might be the ones that you'd cull, and yes, if I had have done the more prettier ones as such, or the ones with more colour on them, etc., might be bigger fish now, but it wouldn't have made much difference. And the problem with that as well is some of the fish in here may have not grown as well as they could have done in a much bigger pond or with much less fish in it. But if I, for example, put them fish in a much bigger pond with much less fish in it now, they will grow like crazy and they will catch up to what they would have been anyway. So you can't win, in my experience. And these little guys they're just great. I really like them. Not one, I mean, some of them are metallic, quite nice, but not one of the really nice pattern fish is currently biting my finger. So you know what I mean, it's what you want in your pond. To me, I'd rather a sociable fish over a pretty fish, and that's just one of the points I'd like to make. So here we go, just got a selection of fish out. They're not very pleased with me at the minute. Let's see if we can have a closer look. Annoyingly, this is the camera I'd use to take photos, but it's all set up for video at the minute, so I can't. Obviously you've got your plainer ones, your blackfish, all that sort of stuff, but there's some really good looking. Look at that little guy there, look. Absolutely lovely. And there's a few of them, so I've got this other tank here. So what I'm doing is I'm basically picking the bigger ones out, picking the ones I really quite like, putting them in this tank. So we've got little, so this fish is one of the ones I mentioned earlier, not from Cuttlebrook. They are older as well, so they were fry, but they're much older. I don't know, they've had a bit of a rougher life, but I'm just trying to ignore them for now. So this little guy here, look, he's from Cuttlebrook. Absolutely lovely little fish again. Let's get some zooming in there. Look at that, absolute cracker. And there's quite a few of them in this batch. I mean, that's just this tank's still full of fish. So yeah, let's keep going, keep seeing what we can find. And yeah, look at that guy there, lovely. So here we go, I've got quite a few more out, and some really interesting fish in here. It's funny to me that the chags this year haven't grown quite as big as the metallics. Don't know if there's any specific reason for that in how I've kept them. There's a big guy there, but yeah, there we go. Absolutely lovely fish in that lot. Look at them. But these are going to go back into here, so I'm going to keep sorting them out. I'm going to continue growing these on as such, and then what I'm doing is the ones that are 20 centimetres or bigger I'm taking out. So these are all your 20 centimetre ones. Quite a few nice guys in here. Yeah, I like him. They're quick. Yeah, some absolutely lovely fish. Ah, nice little achiever in there. He's a really nice little achiever actually. Quite like that one. They do have some nice achievers at Cuttlebrook in the fry. I've got quite a few good achievers out of them, which I've been quite pleased with. There's quite a few in this year as well. Right, let's keep going, see what else we can. So there we go, we've picked out a few more. So basically the reason I'm picking these out is because they're all big enough to go into my other pond, and some of them I really like. Some of them I think I will put in the main pond actually. But yeah, some really nice achievers in there. The achievers again, when they get into some sunlight, will come out even better and start looking even better, and that. But generally the metallics look quite nice even now. So I think when they've got a bit of sunlight on them, their oranges should come out, the yellows should come out a lot better with a bit of sunlight on them and stuff like that. So yeah, if they look good now, in probably a month's time when it's in sun, they should look really good. So quite pleased with him. But yeah, there's a couple of guys I think I put in main pond. I quite like him. That one there. And which other one was it? Probably that one there, actually. That guy there. Nice fish. I think them two are about 25 centimetres. So they're a lot bigger than you think as well. I get used to looking at these massive fish, and then you look at these and you think, oh, they're really small, but they're not. 20 centimetre fish is a decent sized fish. There are some small ones. There's some really small ones. In fact, I've just had to turn off the water going into this tank, so we're getting a bit full. So I might have to take these out and then try again in a bit before they start to struggle. But yeah, still some really nice fish left in. There's still a lot of really nice big fish still in this tank, but it's difficult to catch them all. So it's just a case of keeping doing this. I'm going to be keeping catching some and picking some out and doing it that way until I've got less light. Look at that big guy there. Yeah. Some really nice fish in this tank still, and quite a lot. But yeah, so what I'm going to do now is get these ones back in there, and then we'll have a look at putting these ones into the new home. So there we go. I've pushed them about a little bit much really now. Just going to leave them. But we have got some really nice fish out. There is quite a few big ones still in there, but again, I just don't want to be chasing them about all day. It's not really fair on them. So we've had a good go at it. I've just picked out a couple more straight out at tank that I were interested in, and yeah, we've ended up with some really good fish, I reckon. I've no idea how many's there. If you can guess how many's there, I'd be quite impressed in the comments. And I'll tell you at the end of the video, because I've got to count them before I put them into the other tank. But yeah, some really nice fish. I'm quite pleased with them. Let's have a good close look. Well, that's better, isn't it? Seeing better like that. Not bad at all. And again, the only reason I picked these ones out is because they're bigger. Really, that's sort of the only most criteria that I've gone for. Is because they're around the 20 centimetre mark. The rest of them, I want them to grow on a little bit more before I really start to do out with them. But you just, like I said, you get used to it. You know, I've grown these on from really small fish, which I really enjoy doing, but you're sort of surprised by how big they actually are. I mean, look at that guy there, that Saragoy. It's a little dolphin. You know, that's a right fish. Good size in him. You know, to say when, you know, only last September, how small they were, absolutely ridiculous. Right, let's have a go at getting them into the new home. So here we are. I've just put these fish in this bowl just for my own records and to take some pictures of them. Actually, I've got some really nice pictures of them. But I'm after one in particular. One of these I really like, and it is this guy here. So this guy, actually really like that one. It reminds me of a fish I used to have that I really liked as well. Incredibly sociable fish that I used to have. And unfortunately I had a stroke and I had to put him to sleep, which was really sad. And one of sort of most upsetting things I've ever done with fish. But I really like this guy, just reminds me of him. So he's going in main pond. So let's pop him in main pond. The problem with putting fish in main pond is that sometimes the others don't get very pleased by it. See how it goes. There you go, little guy. Oh, little fish. It's probably the smallest fish in pond now. Straight to the bottom. I quite like this one as well, with big black spot on his side, but I'm going to put him with others in other tank just so they can grow, and I don't want too many little ones in the main pond. Actually, no, I said it. I'll put him in. He's got a friend then. So no, it's alright. Because I think I will put him in actually, because they'll probably swim around together. So when they're sort of this age, they'll probably swim around together. But yeah, to be seen. Let's chuck him in. See how he goes. Yeah, why not? Not really hurt now, is it? There we go. Come find your mate. There we go. At least he's got somebody who recognises. In the tank, not just loads of big fish. Yeah. Oh, he actually swum straight to him. That's quite funny, that. Anyway, right, let's leave them to it. So these 8 are going straight in, and there is already some fish in there from last year's fry, and some other ones as well. They're a little bit older. So these big guys are a little bit older. So let's put these 8 in, one at a time. One at a time. Temperature. So you might be wondering as well that I'm putting these fish in here and I'm not like floating them in a bag like you're supposed to or out like that. The reason for that is I've put in quite a lot of effort to make sure that these tanks are the same temperature exactly. They both use the same tap water, they're both the same pH. Obviously there may be slight differences in it, well there probably are. This one will have a lot less ammonia in it than the fry tank. But it's, you know, that sort of stuff don't matter. It's your temperature that's your big one, then your pH and stuff like that. So going straight into this tank's probably no different from the tank that we're in. In fact, putting them straight in it because of the drop in ammonia quite quickly will make them feel quite happy about it. Not that there's high levels of ammonia in the fry tank, but there's definitely none in this one. So another bowl to look at with 9 in it. Some nice fish. Again, I've just took some pictures. Let's have a look at one of the pictures. I really like to keep these sort of pictures and have a good look at them for your records. It's really amazing how the progress and that over time. But yeah, I think these will come on absolutely beautifully with some sunlight on them. They'll really come out well, I reckon. So yep, let's get these in the tank. There we go. We're off again. Bring them in. 3 at a time this time. Okay. Go on, little guys. Whee. These kids' nets, brilliant. Absolutely amazing for moving small fish about. The fish don't get snagged in them in any way because the mesh is so fine. And the only trouble is that they break like this one has. So eventually the handles give way in some way. But at £2 each, you can't complain. Really. Especially compared to your other koi nets, it can be quite dear. Yeah, I wonder if you can see any through the window. That a couple hiding down there. There we go. Right, let's go and get some more. So we got 15 Achibas, Chaggies and Seragoi. Quite nice. I always like these type of fish. They do look a little bit bland at minute, and they will definitely come out a lot better with some sunlight on them. Especially these kind of guys. I mean, he's got a nice bit of brown on him. You can really see where the brown's going to come out. But obviously just not getting enough sunlight. It's funny that some like that one are quite brown and some aren't, but they'll definitely benefit from it. But yeah, there's not much oxygen in there. Let's get them in tank quick. So here we go. Let's get these guys in. Oops. First time. So one of the things I could do actually is I could just get this tank and tip it straight in. But one of the things I never do is mix water between tanks. I just don't like doing it. I've been bitten by it before, obviously a long time ago. Probably my systems nowadays are a lot cleaner than they used to be. So that'd be why I got bitten by it back in day, I reckon, because I ended up moving water between 2 tanks and I ended up with a lot of bacterial problems. And but I just find it easier never to mix water. Obviously I'm mixing the fish, so it doesn't matter too much, but there we go. And the last one. And there he goes. One thing I'd like to add as well is that I'm putting a lot of fish in this tank. So I'm putting a lot of fish in all in one go. I wouldn't recommend that in a normal pond. It's really not good for the balance of your pond to just chuck tons of fish in it all in one go. You're better off buying a few at a time and adding them slowly to most ponds. This isn't most ponds, it is a quarantine tank. And personally I find a quarantine tank more of a machine rather than a natural sort of thing of a pond. So a pond really is generally more of a natural environment that really relies on a specific balance. A quarantine tank is more of a machine that keeps the fish alive. And I know that both have filtration and work in a very similar way, but you've got to remember that a quarantine tank generally has a much more powerful filter on it for the size of the actual tank. I mean, this is a 1,000-gallon quarantine tank, but it could the filter on it could probably filter something about 5,000 or 6,000 gallon. So you know, it's quite over powerful. Whereas the main pond also has that sort of thing. It really has got a filter on it that could do a much bigger pond, but in a way it couldn't really cope with chucking in a ton of fish all in one go because it's not that oversized. You know, it's a 9,000 gallon pond, but the filter could probably do maybe 15,000 gallons at most. So, you know, it's not that oversized. Whereas with this one being quite considerably oversized, it don't matter really. It'll catch up and you'll not get in too much trouble. This little guy as well, I quite like him. Nice little Sankey. Can't leave him on his own with a load of other fish, so he's going in main pond. So let's pop him in. There we go. Again, not a Cuttlebrook fish, but a nice little fish nevertheless. There we go. He'll do well in main pond, I think. But yeah, he's quite a bit older than the Cuttlebrook fish, so you know, to say that they're a similar size, it's quite interesting. Right, let's get back to it. Yeah, definitely getting a bit busier in there. But we are putting in 47 fish, so I know exactly how many there is now, so I'm just counting them. But yep, 47 in them. So let's get the rest of them in. And here we go as final bowl of fish. So we've got a bit of a random bowl this time, so a bit of straddlers that were in the other bit. And that Saragoy there is probably the biggest fish that I've got, so he's 29 centimetres. So pretty big fish, but unfortunately just 1 centimetre shorter a foot. But yeah, pretty big fish. Definitely the biggest one in tank anyway, so quite pleased with that one. But there we go. Some nice fish again. I like him. Yeah, nice black, dark colours. Better on that side. There we go. Right, let's get these in. So here we go. So here we go as last bowl of fish. Let's get them all in and see where we're at. Oops. I don't want to go in apparently. There you go. Ooh, that would have been there. Look at that. Got a little guy. Last one. Yeah, you got there. Let's have a look. What we got out interesting. Let's turn the air pump off a minute. Let's have a look. Oh. Lots of little fishes zooming about. There's not much size difference between last year's fry and This is. That's quite good. They tend not to grow as well in this tank because it's not as hot, and they're not actually fed quite as much. In the fry tank at the back of the fish house, absolutely hammering the food. Definitely looks a lot busier in there with them 50 fish added. All chasing each other. There we go. Right, let's leave them to it. There we go, they're talking to me again. They've not been happy for quite some time after catching them like that. But yeah, they've cheered all back up. Still quite a lot of fish in here, so I've taken 50 fish out. I put 47 in the other tank, and I put 3 in the main pond. Of mostly the biggest fish. So these ones, there's quite a few bigger fish in here, and these ones frankly aren't that much smaller. There are a couple of really small ones, but you always get that. And that's so because I've taken the bigger fish out, it'll pretty much hopefully allow the littler fish to grow a bit better. Generally the bigger fish are only bigger because they've either eaten the littler ones at some point, or they're just a little bit more active with food than the ones that are in there at the minute. So but hopefully these will just continue to grow and they'll catch up with the others, and we should have a ton of big fish then. There we go, that little guy's enjoying the winder. So and another little guy there, he's quite quick actually. They're really, you'd really think they'd stay out of the way of the big fish, but no, they don't. They like to be in the middle of it all. Don't know if they'll be able to eat these 6mm pellets, but I'm sure they'll give it a go. So let's give them some food before we get wet through. Yeah, you're getting some food. Well, I can get one. Yeah, they can easily eat the 6mm pellets, no problem. Yeah, doing quite well. Quite pleased with that. Eating already, that's not bad at all, that. They really settling in well, even with bigger fish. Yeah, they're that. Cool. They're the ones there. They're really fast. If I wanted to catch them fish, it'd never happen. There's no way I could catch them now. They're in here. So there we go. If you like this video, then please like it. If you want to see more videos like this and fishy related videos, then please feel free to subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, then please put them down below. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I shall see you in the next video.